So I've been thinking recently about the key steps that are necessary to be taken in order to try and overcome your social anxiety. And it's, like, for me, it's not my first rodeo with it. I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember. But it's only the last kind of year or two where I've actually begun to understand the process behind it, so what's causing it, and then some of the techniques that you can implement in order to make it easier in your day-to-day life, right? So the first key step I would feel that is necessary to go through is the understanding and, I suppose, the acknowledgement of your social anxiety. And what I mean by that is what are the underlying causes of it. So for some people, it could be genetic. So they might have the genes necessary in their genome for social anxiety. The exact genes could be present there. So in that sense, it's hereditary. And there's not a lot you can do with that. But I suppose you could look and track the past family history of it and see what people in the family did that might have helped them in their journey to overcoming it, right? But then for other people, you have to remember that there are environmental factors at work constantly. We are kids and we are, coming into the world, we're developing. So, like, there's a famous quote by Aristotle, and I love it, man. I love it. So he said, "Give me a child at 7, and I will show you the man." So basically what he's saying, I think that's more or less the quote. It's probably not verbatim, but you know what, whatever. But basically that quote is showing that kids, they pick up all of their habits and a lot of their personality and their beliefs, core beliefs, and maybe limiting beliefs as well. That's important. Limiting beliefs can be picked up as well at this age. So kids, essentially, their brains are so plastic at this age that they are a sponge. They're a sponge for knowledge, they're a sponge for habits, like I said, but also they're a sponge for negativity. So you might have had traumatic experiences when you're younger that now have shaped you into the adult you are now. But also that could have given you, those experiences that we don't know, could have given you social anxiety. So you might have suppressed them. So what happens a lot when we're young kids is that if a potential threat is imminent, our young developing brains basically repress this experience or memory. It's a defense mechanism put in place by your brain to protect the developing mind. The mind that is plastic and, it's virtuous. So it's basically putting up a wall. And what happens then when you're older is that this repressed memory can then filter out. So basically repressed memory, it goes into your subconscious, right? And then this can be filtered out into your conscious mind in specific situations. So what I have found is there was situations where initially I didn't feel any anxiety, didn't feel any apprehension towards the situation. However, once I was in it, there was something in my mind that triggered it. So then I began to realize then somewhere deep within me, in my subconscious, there is a repressed memory there. And that is causing me to exhibit the symptoms. So this explains why sometimes we have zero control over our response to an external stimuli. So this is just a classic case of S-OR theory. The S-OR theory, where this is basically, it's an old theory from psychology, but it's basically a stimulus causing a response. And that's all it is. So sometimes we have zero control over it. Right? So just be aware, delve deeper. Is it a genetic? Like, is your anxiety purely genetic? Most time it isn't. Most time there are underlying environmental factors and conditioning that has gone into and has caused social anxiety to come to the forefront. So yeah, dig deeper. Dig deeper. Try to really understand your mind, because everyone is different. Everyone has different triggers. Everyone has different situations that they dread. So you got to delve into your own mind. Crack it open. Crack it open, man, like a goddamn watermelon. You know what I'm saying? Or coconut. Second step is probably even more pivotal in terms of taking action. And that's basically what it is. You have to have complete ownership of your social anxiety now. It's brilliant to understand the reason behind your symptoms, but from now on, you have to embody it. You have to become okay with having it. Because that's the only way. That is literally, man, it's the only way that you are going to progress any further in life. And progress in your, social skills and your happiness in the world, right? So you have to take ownership. And, so let's say an example, if you are feeling really overwhelmed and you're like, fuck, man, shit, I'm like sweating my ass off here, or my voice is shaking. You need to try and flip that. You have to kind of go, oh, okay, I'm shaking. Okay, so what I would recommend is you shouldn't try and stop the symptoms. You need to work on how you react once these symptoms present themselves. Because from my experience, I could have like 2 or 3 weeks where I'm feeling good. I'm like, I've got a handle on this, and I'm facing my fears. I'm going into situations I wouldn't normally go. And I'm seeing a lot of progress. And then one little situation can put me into like a spiral again. And I feel like I haven't made any progress, any noteworthy progress. So you need to become okay with that. Okay with the consistent, quote unquote, failure, right? Or not meeting your expectations of being this perfect, polished individual who has no social anxiety and all that bullshit. Because everyone experiences, to a certain degree, some social anxiety. So you need to become okay with the symptoms. Become okay with being perceived as a weak, or, do you know what? It's not even perceived as weak, it's your own brain telling you that you're weak.